Hello friends, and welcome to CJoy Yoga. Dooley and Sarah will be joining us for class today. So Dooley will be doing things with modifications and Sarah will be doing them full out. I'm hilarious. Anyway, today we are going to go into a little bit of wrist and arm work. Sarah's been doing a lot of work in remodeling her home, and so we're just going to see if we can't get her a little bit of relief through that area. As we move through this, if you have carpal tunnel or anything like that, you know, some of these moves may feel like they help get in there, but if your carpal tunnel is inflamed, it might also feel like it's making it worse. If it is, don't do the move that we're working on, right? You're going to take care of your body, and you'll meet us on the next move and see if that's something that maybe gives you a little bit of relief. So let's go ahead, and since we're already here, you can either start kneeling, or if you want to sit cross-legged, feel free to switch to cross-legged, right? And bring the hands down on the thighs. You can have the palms down or up. They're both on the table. And close the eyes. And let's just take a few moments and check in with the body we have here at this moment, yeah? You want to try and find the middle of the buttocks bones so that that pelvis can be nice and neutral. And then allow the spine to grow up tall out of that. And some of my friends, we don't have as much energy and we're kind of lumping to the floor and we need a little bit, right? And some of my friends, when I said that, you just shot your crown of your head up to the sky, and you might need to settle down just a little bit and soften a little bit. So we use only the amount of energy that we need, only as much contraction as we need in the muscles to get the job done. Check into what feels tense, and if there's anywhere you can release that you don't need right now, allow that to happen. And then check into the breath briefly here before we begin to move. Allow that soft belly breath to happen. Right? It's not so much that we have to exert effort, we just kind of get out of the way and allow it. And then with your next inhale, go ahead and open the eyes. So interlace your hands and push your palms forward. I'm going to show from the side view for this one, right? And then from there, try to find nice long arms, but make sure you're not pulling your shoulders out of the sockets. That's easier to see on my body. Soften the shoulders back in and get really tall. And then with an inhale, start to reach those arms up any amount. They don't have to go overhead, right? They just go to where you notice your shoulders want to pick up to your ears. Don't go so far. Where your elbows want to bend, don't go quite that far, right? And then see if you can push a little more through the index finger and the thumb side. And again, if this feels like it's exacerbating anything in your forearms or your wrists, get out. And go ahead and bring those arms back down in front of you. You could simply raise the arms without the interlace. And then go ahead and change the interlace. Push the palms forward again. Soften those shoulders in the sockets, letting that chest blossom. Straight arms, and then inhale those arms up. She's doing a great job of keeping her inner shoulders down and those triceps working, so she finds that beautiful side waist. And then from there, just check in. If you're not pushing through your thumb and index finger side, maybe a little extra pressure on that side. Take one more breath, inhale. And then with an exhale, go ahead and let that come on down. Let's get out of this kneeling position. If you weren't in it, you'll still join us. Come to hands and knees, and you can face either direction, Miss Sarah. And then from there, let's just do stretch for the backs of the legs. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to curl your right toes under and lengthen that leg behind you, or straighten it, I could say, and then rock a little forward and a little back, just allowing the back of that knee and the calf to open up from any compression. And bring that shin down, and then go ahead and do the same thing with the left side. So curl those toes under, straighten the leg, and then if you rock a little forward and a little back, hopefully we open the back of the knee and just start to stretch the calf muscle. And go ahead and bring that knee down. And bring yourself down in a child's pose. So the knees go a little wide, the big toes touch. Let the forearms and the forehead come down. If for some reason this isn't comfortable, you can bring your arms by your side, but otherwise resting the forearms down and letting those wrists be nice and soft right now. Okay? And then take about 3 more breaths or so. If there's anywhere in your back body you're noticing feels really tight or tense, I want you to see if you can bring an inhale directly into that spot and expand the area. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and we're going to reach the arms out into extended child's pose. So it's a little bit of strength in that area, it's true, but usually this one we can do without putting any pressure on the wrist, right? So as you push down into your finger pads, as a matter of fact, since we're talking about wrists a bit today, come up onto your finger pads, all 10 finger pads, right? So it's a pentapod. And as you push down into your finger pads, the forearms are going to lift up real nice, the triceps pin in. But the reason I'm really interested in this position today is because we're going to really slowly bring our palms back down, but we're going to try to keep most of the pressure in the finger pads. So slowly let the palms come down. And if you keep those fingers involved, if the fingers continue to push down, do you notice how you take the weight out of the heel of the hand right by the wrist, and we distribute it a little more evenly? One more thing you may notice is at the very middle of your palm, almost like it starts to suck up away from the floor, right? You're not trying to make it happen, it's because the fingers are actively involved now. Take one more breath there. And we're going to move it up into a downward dog, and then we'll take a little break. So come on up into downward dog. You already built your hands and your legs, or shoulders and arms, right? And bend those knees, and if you want to pedal it out on this first round, you might bend one knee and straighten another. And page through that a couple of times. And then if you are able to, right, once you come back to stillness, bend the knees a little bit and take the legs out of it. Come up onto those 10 fingertips again. Now that might not be available, and if it's not, you can just put pressure. But when you put pressure, notice how the weight comes out of the wrist. We're not destroying our wrist to hold ourselves up here, right? And go ahead and take one more breath there. Inhale. And then with an exhale, you're going to come down into child's pose again. So we're not going to be in a rush to get anywhere today. I try not to be anyway when I teach, right? Soften your wrists, soften your hands and your fingers and your forearms, and just notice what you're feeling in that area. So this is a little bit of strength, it's true, but we're also seeing if we can't try to lengthen out that area. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go into a couple of odd but potentially awesome things here. We're going to come on up to hands and knees. And I'm going to meet you, and I'm going to be pretty close so that I can show this, because maybe you've done this before, Miss Sarah, but in case you haven't. So for the first one, you're going to go ahead and you're going to see if you can turn your fingers all the way around, or as far as you can, towards your knees, right? So if that needs to be out to the side a little bit, that's fine. And do that with both of the hands. And that might be like, holy moly. So we're starting to get into the inside of that forearm right now and lengthen. If this is plenty, you're going to stay right here. If you could use a little bit more, I can't. I broke this wrist and this one never quite gives me all, right? But you might start to sink your buttocks down towards your heels, or just think of it moving back a little bit, and you can start to regulate how much this begins to stretch on your body, right? If your arms are out to the side, it won't be quite as intense in that front of the forearm, the inner forearm, I should say, but you can still probably start to get a stretch there. Take one more breath if you can manage, and then go ahead, and if it's okay to sit back on your heels, sit back on your heels, or you can always kneel if you can't take the pressure, and then just go ahead and really gently shake your wrists no, and then shake your wrists yes. And again, just be nice and gentle with it. Make sure it's okay with your wrist today. And then if it feels okay, you can go a little bit more rigorous. And yes. And how's that feel in there? Is that starting to stretch through that line you were talking about?
Yeah, I think so.
Without exacerbating it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then you're going to start to move towards a downward dog. So come to hands and knees and have those hands about 2 inches in front of your shoulders, and start to push on up. Again, I'm gonna say it again and again and again, but making sure you're putting pressure into your finger pads. You know, especially those of us who do yoga on a regular basis, we do downward dog all the time. If every time we go in a downward dog, our fingers don't participate, our wrists take the brunt of that, and it's not good wrist health. We're not being very, very friendly to our wrists. So, you know, you may take the knees out of it a little bit today, the legs I should say, by bending the knees and not putting as much pressure, or finding that a little bit more in the hands and the wrists. Take one more breath, inhale. And over the next exhale, you're going to go ahead and you're going to walk your hands back to your feet. You'll end up at the back of the mat. Go ahead and put your hands on your shins. And again, use your fingertips today. 10 fingertips. Shoulder blades down the back. Reach the chest forward. And exhale, fold in. Do that one more time using your fingertips. 10 fingertips on the shin. Long spine, right? Reaching the chest forward. And folding in. This time we'll add on. So come on up. If you want to go to palms, you can go to palms now, but keep that idea of the fingertips participating. Hands on the hips, elbows up, and bring that beautiful long spine all the way up. Okay, so it's not quite the wrist and the forearms, but just to get a little bit of your upper back, since your upper back's talking to you as well, you're going to just stay facing that way. I'll face this way so they can see me. You're going to go ahead and interlace your hands behind your head, kind of like a good old-fashioned sit-up, right? And then from there, inhale, let your right elbow start to reach up towards the sky. You might have a ceiling, but we don't. Pretend you don't. Come on back to your neutral, and let your left elbow start to reach up towards the sky. And neutral, we'll do that a couple of times. Right elbow is going to reach up. Think of lengthening through your right rib cage. And back to the center. Left elbow is going to reach up, and think of lengthening through the left rib cage. Come on back. One more piece. As the right elbow lifts up, don't let those ribs move forward. Keep the sternum in, right, even as you lift the elbow up. And maybe you don't go as high, but it doesn't matter. We just kept the spine safer. Come back to neutral. Again, don't let the sternum jut forward. Keep that xiphoid process in as you lift the elbow up. And coming back to your neutral, go ahead and release the arms down. Hopefully we've got some spaciousness in that side body. Come on up to the top of the mat. Moving into a couple of 2 half salutations. Inhale, reach the arms out and up. And exhale, go ahead and fold on in. Hands on the shins. Let the fingertips participate. Not just the fingertips, the finger pads, right? Reach the chest forward. And exhale, fold back in. Hands on the hips for this first round. Elbows up. Inhale, long spine. Bring it all the way up to standing. And bring those arms down by the side. One more just like that. Inhale, reach those arms out and up. Soft inner shoulders. Exhale, folding in. Inhale, use your finger pads as well as your palms if you're using palms. Exhale, folding in. And this time if you want arm extension, extend the arms out and start to come all the way up, but find that long spine right off the bat. And exhale, bring those arms out and down. Okay, let's go ahead and go into some lunges. Inhale, reach the arms out and up. And exhale, folding in. Inhale and reach that chest forward. Bend your knees, plant your hands, step your left foot back. And then go ahead and lengthen the spine, reaching the heel back, chest forward, almost like a rubber band, right? And then if that knee wants to come down, the knee can come down, and you can do a low lunge. Or if you want crescent, you're going to inhale the arms out and up. So crescent's going to be more intense, right? But you're going to go ahead and you're going to start to bring the body up into a lunge. So bring it all the way up, Sarah. Yeah. And if you're in a lunge, if you're in crescent, you're going to bend that back knee so you can find your nice neutral pelvis. And then go ahead and maybe that back leg starts to straighten, but again, that knee might be down on the ground. It's whatever is right for you. Soften your inner shoulders. And then go ahead and bring the hands on down. Step back to downward dog. Now, if your wrists are like, I'm done with that, you can always go to child's pose and just take a break there, right? But again, we're trying to retrain and ask the fingers to participate so it's not all in the heel of the hand, right at the wrists. Inhale the left leg into the air behind you. And exhale, bring it forward. And if you did, you don't have to match sides, but if you kept it long on the other side straight, you might, if not, bend that knee, but you'll bring it up into crescent or low lunge. If you're crescenting, you're going to bend that knee until you can find that neutral pelvis. Scissor your thighs together so you find that, yep, you got it. And then from there, maybe that back leg starts to straighten a little bit, but maybe it doesn't. Take an inhale, soft shoulders. And then exhale, bring the hands down and step forward to the top of the mat. Inhale that chest forward. Exhale and fold. Either arm variation, hands on hips or arms up, or find your long spine immediately and bring that all the way up. If you went overhead, you simply bring it down on the exhale. We meet there. And let's do one more of those, and then we'll do 2 standing poses, I think, and come down and cool down. Go ahead and inhale those arms out and up. And exhale, folding in. Inhale that chest forward. And bend your knees, plant your hands, step your right foot back. And same stuff, all the same actions, but a little quicker. Go ahead and bring it up into your crescent. And soften those shoulders, right? And then maybe for the upper back, you might start to bring your hands together, but don't bend the elbows. If those palms touch, you can bring it in, right? But as those palms touch, now push together the hands to lengthen up, pull the upper back in and blossom the chest. Your gaze might even shift. There it is, Sarah. And then from there, bring those hands down. Take your time. It's a balancing act too. Step back. Plank if you want a little bit of heat, but of course that's wrist heavy, so you might skip your plank and go straight to downward dog. One of these days I'll do a hands-free class for any of my friends who desire that. Inhale the right leg into the air behind you and exhale it forward between the hands. And coming up into crescent or low lunge, they're both on the table, right? And soften those inner shoulders, but then start to work those palms together, trying to keep your arms as long as you can. And then the palms, they push together like the Dickens, which helps the upper back pull in and the chest open. Gaze might shift. It's because of the upper back. Inhale. And exhale, bring the hands down and step forward to the top of the mat. Inhale that chest forward. Exhale and fold. And inhale, either arm variation, come all the way up to standing rise. And we'll all meet with our arms down by our side, whichever variation you took. Go ahead and let's face the camera, Miss Sarah. And go ahead and step wide on the mat. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to turn to the right first, so you'll turn your left foot in and your whole right leg out. Remember, at home we're not mirroring you, so you'll look opposite of us, right? And then go from there, inhale the arms out wide, and exhale, bend into warrior 2. So not really introducing anything brand new yet, yeah? But since it's an upper back kind of a day, what happens if you imagine that there are counters underneath your hands and you push down into those counters, right? And it doesn't have to be that you're pushing them down and you're trying to flatten them, but a little pressure down into imaginary counters starts to turn on that mid-back, which is a main support system we forget to call on a lot. Now go ahead and lengthen, Miss Sarah, and you're going to bring the right arm onto the right leg. Now that left hand, I'm going to ask you to bring it down to the hip, right? And first things first, really get the feet solid, pushing down through that back outer left heel, a little weight in the right heel, right? Low belly pulling up so we're supported. Now bring that left hand back so that it comes onto either the pelvis, the buttocks, the right buttocks, or you might grab onto the top of your right thigh. They're both on the table if you go to the other buttocks. And I'm trying to show you the back side, right? Now go ahead and push into that sacrum on that side. And does that help that hip get in the socket? But does that also help that shoulder rise? Now go ahead and turn your chin down towards your chest. And then you can play with it. The chin might move a little more towards the chest or a little more towards the front of the room. Find the place where you start to get into the sternocleidomastoid, which is that back of that left side of the neck. And let it have a little bit of weight, Sarah. Does that make sense? So turn the chin down. And if you're finding another spot, you can tell me to get out of it. And tell me to get out of my way. And breathe. Keep that shoulder lifting even though the chin is dropping down. And to come out of this, leave the head where it is. Reach the left arm up. I'm taxing your legs. This is our heat for the day. Inhale up into warrior 2, so that left arm is already in position. The head's technically already in position, yeah? And straighten the legs. Hands on the hips. Toes turn towards the long edge of your mat. You're not on camera. Go ahead and turn out towards the left. So the right foot turns in, the whole left leg turns out. Inhale the arms out wide. And exhale, go ahead and bend on in. And again, when you get there, take a second, make sure you're rooting down, low belly's pulling up, but then push into imaginary countertops, right? Imagine my hands are there for you to push into like Miss Sarah has. And can you find a little bit of fire between the shoulder blades? Don't be crazy with that. Please don't be crazy with that. Check into your sternum. Did your sternum go koosh when you did that? And if it did, bring it back, right? Now from there, you're gonna lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Left elbow will come onto left thigh. Right hand is gonna come to the hip for a second. Plant the feet down, right? Find the pelvic floor, find the core. Now bring that right hand back, and the right hand is going to come against the left buttocks, right? Maybe it grabs the top of the thigh, but for most of us that's not accessible. And as we push into the buttocks, it gets the buttocks to move in, but it helps the shoulder lift up, right? And keep that sternum checked. And then go ahead and now churn your chin down towards the shoulder and let the chin turn all the way down. And then the chin might move a little bit towards the front edge, this short edge of your mat. It might move a little bit towards your chest. Kind of find out where is it for you that you start to get into. I'm pointing on Miss Sarah's body, these muscles that run from the neck down into the upper back. And keep that right shoulder lifted and let the head have a little bit of weight, which is kind of scary for some of us. And then inhale the right arm up. And exhale there. And then with an inhale, inhale up into warrior 2. And head's already in position. Straighten the leg. Hands on the hips. Turn the toes forward. Let's go into a good old-fashioned forward fold. So make sure your feet, your pinky edge is in line with the outer edge of the mat, the short edge. Yep. Toes straight forward. Inhale, shoulder blades down the back. Let's interlace actually. Interlace behind the back. If that's too much, hands on hips. Take an inhale with an exhale, starting to fold in. So with this one, it's not going to be folding all the way in and softening, right? It's a little more active through the spine. And then when you get there, the knuckles reach back to keep the shoulder heads lifting, and the knuckles might start to reach up to the sky like Miss Sarah is doing right now. You might not look exactly like her, wherever it is for you. Don't crank your neck to see the camera. As a matter of fact, can you soften your neck here? Take one more breath, inhale. And now you get that full forward fold. Let the hands come down to the sacrum. Let them split and come down to the ground. And inhale, lengthen the spine, and then exhale, soften in. And just be soft there for 2 breaths. Inhale and exhale. One more. Inhale and exhale. Come on to those fingertips. Reach the chest forward. Put your hands on your hips when your core is turned on and come all the way up. You can heel toe your feet together. You can step them. You can jump them. Whatever's right for your body. Beep. And you get to come down onto your buttocks. Woo-hoo-hoo. My second favorite part of class, you're like, what's your first? When I get to lie on my back. Not always, but often. Okay, so let's do one forward fold here. Yeah, let's just do a straight forward fold for the hamstrings. Why not? Inhale, get really nice and tall through the spine, pulling that. Remember, you can always bend the knees if that's better for finding your pelvis. And then you're going to start to fold out over those legs. And I'm not going to give a ton of alignment points, right? Once you kind of find where the hamstrings are starting to stretch, maybe the heels move forward a little bit, maybe they don't. Maybe you soften the spine in, but maybe it feels better with a straight spine. Right? So find out what works the best. We're trying to get into the belly of the hamstrings for 2 breaths. Inhale and exhale. One more breath. Inhale and exhale. With an inhale, start to lengthen the spine and bring that beautiful spine all the way up. Buttocks in the middle of the mat. And we're going to start to roll down. So put your feet on the ground with the knees bent. Move forward just a little bit, Sarah. And you can grab the backs of the thighs. I'm just going to suggest you walk down today. It's not a big core kind of a day, but you can take it if you want it. I'm never going to take it away from you. Well, I might if I'm there working with you. And let's do a twist, and then it's Shavasana time. So tee your arms out to the side. Put your feet on the ground. And I'd like you to move your hips a little bit to the left of center. Your hips. So lift your hips and move them over and set them back down. Yep. Now bring the knees in towards the chest. Again, I'm going to try and get you higher in your spine. Let the knees move over to the right. Try to keep the knees up towards the elbow, but not so much you cannot soften. Let it soften wherever it ends up going. Maybe turning the head to the left. One full breath. Inhale and exhale. With an inhale, bring those knees back up to center. Put the feet on the ground, picking your hips up, shifting them past center and a little to the right and setting them down. Bringing the knees towards the chest. Inhale. Exhale the knees over to the left. Again, trying to keep them a little higher, but we gotta find a balance where we can soften as well. So let the legs go where they may. Turning the head to the right. Full breath. Inhale and exhale. With your next inhale, bring the knees up. Now we want the pelvis in the middle, right? So put your feet on the ground, pick your hips up and bring your pelvis back in line. Should be in line with your nose, your xiphoid process, right? The pubic bone. And then go ahead and extend those legs out. That said, you know you can leave your feet on the ground with the knees bent. The arms, let them come down just a little bit from where they are. And make sure those shoulder blades are not yanking together, not slamming towards your buttocks, but just softening down the back a little bit, right? So the shoulders soften away from the ears. Palms up help that action. And then we're going to do a quick scan here. And that is soften your forehead, your eyebrows, your muscles around the eyes. Softening the tongue and the jaw. The throat and the neck. Soften the shoulders away from the ears. Soften the arms, hands, and fingers. Softening the chest, upper back, middle rib cage, the belly, and the low back. Softening those hips. And then softening through the upper legs, the knees, lower legs, ankles, feet, and toes. And let the body be so soft that it just kind of melts down into the ground. And we'll take about 3 more breaths. It won't be the longest one you've ever done, so enjoy those breaths. Stretch those arms overhead. You can do that piece as well. And bend those knees. Roll to your right. Take a breath. Inhale and exhale. Now use that left hand to gently push the floor away and start to come on up to seated, and we'll meet there. Just sit up nice and tall and notice if you feel any differently. Maybe now we turn the palms up if that feels okay. Right after practice, I'm usually a little more grounded and a little more receptive, so palms up sometimes works for me then. And if you too have anything going on in your hands, wrists, forearms, shoulders, maybe taking a couple of moments right now to sending them light and love and telling them thank you so much for all they do. You're trying to figure it out and help them find peace. Bring those palms together at the chest, at the heart. Inhale. Exhale, bow the head. And just taking a moment of gratitude for at least one thing. Honoring the light that shines within. Namaste. And namaste, Sarah. Thank you, thank you. Have such a wonderful rest of your day. And remember, if you like this, please feel free to find me on patreon.com/CJoy Yoga and maybe become a subscriber and help me do what I love.